This is the All I Need Skate podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please let us know by subscribing, liking, and sharing an episode. Check out ALLiNEEDSKATE.com for epic skate videos of the crew, our skateboards, and apparel.
So I smoked a little weed after I got out of work and my knees feel pretty good. And then
I didn't know that was for the knees.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm talking to Anthony today. And I was like, usually he cracks a brew. So then I was like, I just got back from my trip and I didn't really have any alcohol and I didn't really think about it till now, but I have some Prosecco, some champagne.
Man, you're fancy.
My girl had it in the fridge, so.
Oh man, she'll be like, "Hey, what happened to the Prosecco?" And you're like, "Oh man,
popping bottles."
You'll never guess.
We're popping bottles on the podcast.
I'm not as fancy. I have. Oh man, I got to get rid of this background. I got Iron Maiden.
Oh, do we have the same background again?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I'm in your house again.
Try to switch up the background real quick. I want to see if you can make it work.
Let me see. Virtual background.
That's so sick you were able to like be in the podcast studio.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
How do I turn off the virtual background? That's a better question.
Yeah, dude.
Let's see.
Today's all about learning how to use tech. Oh, whoa. Sick.
Yeah.
Dude, in the beach. That's where I just was.
Beach. Yeah.
I was literally.
Some northern lights here. I'm in space. I'm everywhere.
Dude, Elon.
How do I just make it go away?
That was pretty good though.
Yeah. I can't figure out how to make it pick none. This is crazy.
Just give you the 0.
Oh man, there's my skateboards in space. Look at that, Billy Ruff.
Oh dude, you're a green man now.
I know.
Like, your face
that didn't work. Mirror my video. No. Oh yeah. Man, I like that.
That's
why
awesome.
Why won't it let me take it off? That's the crazy question.
Elon Gregerson.
Yes. It won't let me take it off. Here, I can work this. Ready?
Oh, sick.
There's the Iron Maiden Trooper beer.
Damn, that's gotta be good.
It is. It tastes like a heavier Yingling, honestly.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, that's if I was prepared, I would have got like maybe a Guinness or something.
Let's see. I think I'm in the studio, yo.
Yo, back in
the studio. This
AIN podcast studio.
Yeah. That's how we roll.
Dude, so I figure where we could start this is I just wanted to ask like how your day's going, or maybe describe your day, like if you don't mind, from waking up and on a little bit.
Today was a little odd day. Kind of an easy week overall in my life. So
that's nice.
Yeah. So we did an organizational week. So all the troopers got to play sports and compete against each other and do things like that instead of like normal work.
That's got to be fun, man.
Yeah, it's needed. You got to make time for that type of stuff for people. Some of them appreciate it, and some of them use that time to skate out because no one's looking for them.
Yeah.
But they'll be the first people to complain that you never do anything for them at the same time. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of the people are down with it. So that's always cool. And
I love sports, dude. Growing up, I loved PE. I loved every physical like education you could get, dude.
Yeah, we did some soccer. We did to start off with like 1,000-pound club on Monday. So like,
what does that mean?
So all the big, really strong dudes compete, and who can lift a total of 1,000 pounds between the deadlift, the squat, and the bench.
Oh hell yeah!
So those kids got after it. The winner of that one was 1,525 pounds or something like that.
Dang.
And that's insane.
Yeah,
that's a car, right?
Oh shit!
so he's pretty strong.
Yeah, beast.
So and then. Tuesday there was like a Zodiac boat race. So the each unit put a team together and they raced across the lake in Zodiacs, little paddle boats that blow up.
Oh, nice.
But like the big ones.
My lady loves like any type of paddle board or like blow up paddle thing.
Yeah. And then there was 2-gun competition where they had to go through like a range, like moving and shooting and switching out which guns they shoot at which targets. And then
what type of guns? What type of guns are we shooting?
The M4 and the M17, which is the new 9mm pistol that the Army uses now, and then
like a handgun,
like a handgun, and then the M4 is the rifle. It's a carbine. Just your standard watching a movie. Oh man, Army gun type thing.
Yeah,
you know. And then yesterday was actually an airborne ops, so there wasn't any sports going on. Guys had to jump out of an airplane. Guys and ladies had to exit an aircraft late last night. So in the dark. How
does that go down?
Oh man, that's a whole day sometimes. So really, by the book, it's a 5-hour timeline. So like, oh man, I'm gonna jump out of an airplane 5 hours before. I got to be here. Someone's got to count me. Someone's got to check my stuff. Then I'm gonna move to like a best way to explain is like a little training area where it's got the right tools, like the mock-up of an inside of an aircraft.
Oh yeah.
So then you're going to go through a full rehearsal of everything you're going to do in the airplane. Then you do a full rehearsal of what you're going to do in the air, and then you can do a full rehearsal of how you're going to land and what you're going to do once you get on the ground. And then you go inside and you get your parachutes and you get a class every time. How do you put it on to make sure you get it right? Because we got young jumpers, people come in all the time, or people that haven't jumped in a while due to aircraft or they've been injured or whatever. So you get them all retaught and respun up, and then you rig them up, and then they get checked by a jump master. Jump masters have been to a course and blessed off on that they're good at doing a 120 point inspection of whatever.
Damn,
to make sure everything's safe. And
it's good to know there's that many points to check.
Oh man, it's so normally in the military you don't want to fail a school. And if you do fail school, like you're in trouble. Like, oh man, you just wasted time, you waste your resources, you're in trouble. You fail jump master school and people go, yeah, I get it. Like, go back next week. It's a 3-week course, and we try and get people right back into the next course so it's all very fresh in their head. Yeah. And the second time, it really starts to come together. The first time they're just trying to make it through the course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hard. The second time, now they're learning and they're gaining their rhythm, if you will, of the whole process. But yeah, it's no joke, because if you're a primary jump master for an aircraft, at a minimum, you've got 60 people's lives, in your hands. So
yeah, man,
you want to get that right. So
you got to get that right.
You got to get that right. Yeah. So anyway, people rig up, then, it's not just a parachute. If they're jumping combat equipment, it means their rifles also attached to their side, their rucksacks attached to the front of their legs.
Whoa.
And then they got to waddle. We'll say waddle. We won't say walk, waddle out to the aircraft, so you've got your 50-pound parachute, your, 50-pound rucksack strapped to your legs, your, rifle with carrying case on your left. So all of a sudden, like I'm 201 pounds right now. They're weighing you now too, so you know what you're jumping. My last jump, which was a casual training jump, like I wasn't jumping all my stuff, I was at 297. So that all that kit just automatically put 97 pounds on me.
You're at 201 without anything.
Right. And that was just a jump to jump, so sometimes the weight gets up there depending on what the purpose of your jumping is. So anyway, then you fly around in the airplane and you go to sleep. And I used to think everyone was sleeping on purpose, but then I realized, like, the way the parachute sits on you, it kind of chokes out your carotid artery, and you're kind of being passed out a little bit as you sit down.
Don't mean to laugh, but
yeah, because there's so much weight on your shoulder, and like right there, I think you're just being passed out. But they give you water to try and keep you as comfortable as possible. And you're, making sure your kit's good and, protecting it from anything getting in the way. And then you get a 20-minute warning, 20 minutes. And then from the jump master, and that's kind of like, oh man, I need to wake up and start paying attention. Things are about to go down. And then you get another 10-minute instruction or warning. And then that's like the 10-minute warning is when the business starts. So it's not like 10 minutes, take a break. It's like 10 minutes, like we're doing this now.
Yeah, like focus.
Right. So you get the commands of stand up, And then you've got the hookup where you got to take your static line, because we jump static line, hook it to the anchor line cable, and you got to check that, check your anchor line, check your static line, check your buddy in front of you to make sure it's not misrouted or anything, and he's good to go or she's good to go.
Yeah, that's a good idea for
Oh
sure.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then you got to check your equipment, so your helmet, all your attaching elements and all your gear, make sure everything is still tight and still where it was when it was being JMPI'd. And while that's happening, the safety, which is another jump master, but he's not jumping on this jump, he's just there to check equipment and keep things safe and control the static lines. They're checking every single static line, like, is it hooked up to the cable correctly, the right cable, is it routed right, is everything good? And they're checking the whole line of people on that one door. Then you sound off for equipment checks. So like, pretend you're in a movie and you see a line of people, paratroopers in an airplane. It's like, okay, very Army,
Hell yeah.
And then gets to the first jumper. He'll look at the jump master and he'll go, oh, okay, jump master, and then he'll slap his hand. And that's, once everyone's hooked up, that's usually when the Air Force is ready to give us the door. So then the door opens,
oh shit,
so like all the air is going, the Air Force gives the Army a door, jump master does all his door checks. So like, is the door secure? He's got to slide his hand all the way down the outside of the door to make sure there's nothing sharp, no debris, nothing that's going to cut a static line, if you will. And then he's got to look out. Like, you got to get out there. You got to grab the side of that door when you're jump master. You got to get your body out that door and look down and away and make sure there's nothing obstructing the aircraft or anything behind you that's going to be a problem. And now you're looking
so intense to me.
It's pretty intense sometimes. And then especially depends on how the pilots are flying. Like, if pilots are flying straight, man, you're good. If the pilot's been drinking or whatever, it's rough. I shouldn't say that, but sometimes they fly squirrely,
There's all different types of people out there.
For sure. And then you've got to look for your reference points. So you've got roughly a 1 minute reference point. It might just be a lake that's shaped like a question mark. You're like, oh man, there's my question mark lake. So that's 1 minute. So you kind of give that to the jumpers 1 minute. So they kind of have oh man, this is getting real. And then you find your next mark, whatever it is on the ground. You're at 1,000 feet roughly. So you can see the ground pretty clearly. Unless it's dark, then the Air Force helps you.
Yeah.
Then you give your 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Now people are like, oh man, it's really getting real. And at that point, the first jumper will get the command to stand by. So they've been standing in that line, and now they're going to hand off their static line to the safety, and they're going to get in that door. If it's a C-130, like or C-17, they're in that door, like holding on to the edge of their parachute, their reserve parachute, because you don't want that thing to catch air and pull you out. That'd be a bad day.
Yeah.
So they're
unless you survive it, then you're action movie, dude.
For sure. So you're holding on to your reserve, and then the green light goes. Now you can't just jump when the green light goes. You got to wait for the jump master to tell you, because the guy on the primary door is going to go out first, and as soon as he says go, then the other guy's going to give you a tap, and you're going to go out on the second door, because you're trying to get a half-second spacing between each jumper on the other doors, because you don't want to meet under the plane. So
that makes sense.
The goal is boom, 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 and you try and get like 60 dudes out in like 40 seconds or whatever, which is
rapid fire.
Or more, or more. So, and then you're out and you're counting to 6,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, and then you're like, is my shit open? Oh, my shit's open. That's good. And then if it's right, and if it's not, or you're falling faster than your fellow jumper, man, you pull that reserve out, no shame, in your game, whatever it takes, and now you're very quickly identifying where the other jumpers are, trying to stay away from them. Always checking your canopy to make sure it's got air and you're falling at the right rate of descent. And then when you're about 150 feet off ground level, you want to undo all your tie downs of your equipment and start to lower it. So your rifle that's been attached to you is on the lowering line, and your rucksack that's on your legs is on a lowering line. You're going to release those. They're going to go on this line that's attached to you down about 10, 15 feet. And then that rifle is going to slide down that rope. So now it's just, you've got like an anchor, underneath you. If you drop it too early, this will make you oscillate, and that's bad business. You want to make sure you're pretty low. Some people drop it too early. Wait till you're pretty good and low, drop it, and now you're going to prepare to land, and that's getting your feet and knees together. Honest to God, that sounds so simple. That is the best way to stay safe. Feet and knees together, feet and knees together, feet and knees together. Elbows tighten your side, chin on chest, eyes on the horizon. And now you're just bracing for impact. The new parachute, if it's go jump off an 11-foot wall, like that's what it feels like. The old parachute was 22-foot wall, and then
both of those seem like they would hurt right now.
they do, right? We're no country for old men. So you hit the ground and you do a quick PMCS, and you thank the Lord that you're okay, and then I say PMCS, you have a little pre-maintenance check of your body, like, oh, am I okay? Yeah, okay, I'm good. And sometimes you're not good, but you don't know it because you've had all this adrenaline during that very short period of time that you think you're fine, but you really don't know till you're walking away.
It's good to have that acronym to keep you to remember,
Yeah, we use that for everything. Anything, like whether you're checking a vehicle, whatever, but pre-maintenance checks, matters just as much as, oh shit, maintenance. If you can get ahead of it,
that makes sense.
You're better off. So then you gather up your kit, you pack your chute. Now you've got this massive bag full of exposed, expended parachute, and you've got to pack that up with your ruck, and you got to go find the turn-in point and drop off that parachute, and then you can go do your job.
Dang, dude, that's so much.
So that was, so that was last night. So that was good. And like last night was 3 C-130 aircrafts back to back, so like 3 airplanes in a row, and like the first one's dropping everyone when they're like a quarter of the way through, which is like 10 seconds. The next one starts to drop their first person, then the next one starts to drop their first person. Whoa. So the next thing you know, you've got 200 chutes in the air at different levels.
Yeah, I was gonna say that perspective, being able to see that must be a trip, dude.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's I've been fortunate to be a paratrooper most of my career. 20 of my 26 years I've been a paratrooper. And the cool part is, at the end of the day, you're going to work with people that are just willing to jump.
I was gonna say that in the beginning. I was gonna say, imagine if all your coworkers had to do this with you.
Right.
That's so perfect. Because then you would know each other, at least in that situation,
That's what makes us different than every other organization, is every single person that works with us volunteered to be a paratrooper. They volunteer for airborne school. They volunteer for an airborne assignment. Once you get that airborne assignment, you got to do it for 36 months to maintain your wings the rest of your life. And I'm very, very fortunate to work around not just the people I grew up with over the last 26 years, but these 18-year-old kids that are still coming in and still willing to do it. And
that's sick.
I was having a conversation with someone recently. I was like, skateboarders tend to think, oh man, military, not for me. I'm a skateboarder. Man, it's exactly for you. You're a resilient person that knows how to fall and get back up, knows how to make minor corrections and find progression. This is how you become successful as a human in the Army, and get promotions and take care of your life and put some money in your pocket and take care of your family and have a sense of purpose. But the resiliency SEALs and skateboarders is exactly the type of people we need to come be paratroopers.
Yeah, man. I'm always amazed when skateboarders can, like, the bails they can take, and like the determination and like not give up, and the tricks themselves is like unbelievable. Like the commitment and the being in razor sharp in a moment.
Being in tune with your body and your mind to make those sometimes it's just the smallest correction, The difference between sacking a heel flip and not is what, this much of your foot, right?
Is a razor tail on a bad day, dude.
Yeah. So,
you end up a human popsicle.
Right. Dude. Like it's really that close. But, just if young skaters who, tend to think they're outcasts could just look at what they individually have accomplished and how to put that into their business world or the military or whatever, like they'd be unstoppable. They'd be unstoppable, because you can take that slam, you can get back up and make a correction. You'd be amazed how many people in this world can't do that.
Yeah, it's a discipline that's learned, you know, you got to really aim at it for sure.
I heard one quote, I don't remember who it was by, someone on the nightclub. They're like, man, skateboarding weeds out quitters. And that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, belong to a lot of old like Facebook groups for skaters, and a lot of guys like, oh man, I want to do it. I'm scared, or I don't feel comfortable at the park, or blah blah blah. I'm like, man, you just have to go do it. When I started at 41, I wasn't comfortable either, but I went to the park every day and I just tried to ollie every day. Go, 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 go. And I met a million cool people, and they didn't give a shit what tricks they had or what tricks I had. All they cared about is that I was going there and putting in work, you know? Because here's a funny thing, me learning how to ollie at 41 is the same work and commitment as the 20-year-old doing a giant Benihana out of the bowl, right? Yeah, different trick, same work, you know, same mindset.
And it's like just time well spent. Like people get better the more they balance on their skateboard. So the more time they stay on it, you settle in, and everyone's working on their own style and their own approach to like different tricks, and like you have your own personal goals, and like it's an art form as much as it is like physical. It's both, you know, which
is turned into like a bunch of different genres too, right? So like when you and I were growing up, there was vert and there was street. Yeah, these were the only two forms of skating. I should rename my channel. I should rename my channel on how not to kickflip, because I have done everything not to kickflip this year. Like I've not ollied, I have not done crap. I'm out there hitting slappies, and I've met this whole slappy community, you know, like, oh man, just all these weird dudes that just want to smash curves. That's cool. Or I've been doing a lot more bowl skating, which is, bowl skating's weird. Like you've got the old crew bowl skaters that just shred, and then you've got this up and coming generation that's just crushing it.
Yeah, in the bowls. Like it's amazing that it's like still thriving. It's awesome.
I think all these new parks that are being built is just building that bowl skating competition. And if you look at all the weird competitions on TV and the internet these days, these park comps are really very bowl related outside of street league. I mean, the big, like the do and all those big giant bowls with tricks in between. And then there's like the surf skate community. I didn't know this was a thing. I was like, oh man, what's a surf skate? I want to try that. Man, that's the most peaceful shit I've ever done in my life. Like you just get out there and just create your own movement, and you're just flowing around. It's almost like I'm just going to power slide to death. That's what it kind of feels like. You're just power slide.
I was watching this girl on roller skates in a tennis court by herself, just doing like turns, like crazy twists and turns out there. Like,
roller skating's coming back at the parks here. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it looks cool too. I like roller skating.
They got different, like it's funny, like they're starting to geek out like the skateboarders. Like they got different wheels, they got different setups, like they're getting all about some roller skating. I don't know.
I got a question, which will bring us back to earlier. Do people get motion sickness? Do you have to deal with people throwing up?
Oh man, sometimes. And like the only thing that makes other people throw up is throw up, right?
Yeah.
So like one person lets it go, and it's like it creates that chain reaction of, oh man, here we go. But so depending on how the pilots go or the heat, the temperature can do a lot with that. And here's the deal.
Imagine.
And here's the deal, man. You throw up, like you're jumping out with that in a bag. So you get a little bag, and you gotta tuck it in your shirt. You're not leaving it in the aircraft for the safeties and the air crew to clean up. So you Ralph it, you jump it, you know.
You carry it down.
It's
like picking up your dog's shit in the morning.
That's it. Yeah.
And it's just getting it throw up all on you on the whole jump.
Because sometimes like it gets hot up there during the summer. And then, you know, we do have non-jumping medics sometimes in the summer, like the medic that's up there on the aircraft ready to react to people that need help. So yeah, it's a different lifestyle, you know.
I only ask because I get motion sickness pretty easy. I just threw up on my last. Me and my lady just went to St. Lucia.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. Bird was eating out of her hand. That was crazy.
Yeah, the birds are intense. Yeah. They like gauge you at first, but if you give in, they're like they all come. And they're fucking suckers, and then
oh man,
it's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, the crazy thing about that trip was the windy roads. They had like one road and it just like literally was hairpin turns through a mountain of all
Yeah.
like a jungle mountain, you know?
Right.
It was intense, man. And I tend to get sick, you know, like
Yeah.
motion sickness at times. Like, and we also took a crazy boat ride, but I didn't get sick. I
Yeah.
didn't get sick on the way to the island into the hotel and stuff, but on the way back I did. It was like it was hot. We were laying in
Damn.
the sun, and then I got in like this car and went through the jungle on a windy road. It was gnarly. The vacation itself was amazing, like the whole thing, like beautiful, like every night we'd just sit and eat dinner and the whole like horizon line and it's
Yeah.
all these crazy colors like just all blended together and it's the biggest mural you've ever seen in your life, you know, where you're like,
Nice.
holy shit. So that was amazing.
And the proposal went down?
No proposal. We've already been engaged. We've been engaged for
Okay.
like 10 years.
What are you waiting on, homie?
I don't know. I told her just me and her could go get married.
Oh man, so that's what me and my wife did. Next month.
Sick.
Next month's 26 years.
That's awesome.
That's a long time, you know. And I dated my wife for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then we drove to Vegas and got married on $7.
That's sick.
It's the best $7 she ever spent. I promise you that. you know.
That's so funny.
Oh man, I didn't have a dime to my name. I had just joined the army. I think I had like a Deion Sanders jersey and a couple phone cards to my name. You know.
You really know how to paint a picture.
Yeah. So yeah, it was rough. And we jumped in her Honda Civic and drove from San Diego down to Vegas and went and got a mayor's license and went to Little White Chapel, Las Vegas. Like
that's sick.
Like just this little creepy place, you know, like the old guy from Poltergeist that walks around the building, like came in and like that version of a woman came in and married us. I thought I was all grown, so I was being all serious. I knew the military and grown man. I'm gonna marry this girl, and my wife is just cracking up the whole time. Like she can't stop laughing about what's going on. And you know, they get to, you know, do you? I was like, yeah, I do. You know, and then they get to her and she's just laughing. I was like, well, do you or not? She's like, I guess, you know. And 26
too late
years,
now. It's like jumping out of a plane at this point.
Yeah. 26 years later, you know, here we are. And it's been great. Last year for our 25th, we went to the Outer Banks for 7 days.
Oh, sick.
And man, what a cool place. So we did like 2 different Airbnbs. Like we started way down south for a couple of days.
Where is this? What's this place like?
The Outer Banks? The Outer Banks is a barrier islands off North Carolina. So super thin, right outside the coast of North Carolina. You drive over to it, and then it's just created by sandbars, the whole area. And the further south, there's no like big businesses. That's all like mom and pop, like old school, like chill life, but you know, $1 million properties, super nice place to live. And we just chilled on the beach and we just kind of picnicked and we enjoyed it. Then we moved up a little more north to Kitty Hawk area, and we went to the Kitty Hawk Museum. You know, learned about the Wright brothers and all that stuff. And that place has got a little more big business, a little more touristy in that area. And then we went all the way north to an area called Corova. So Corova is where Carolina and Virginia meet.
Yeah.
You can only get to the last housing area by driving on the beach. There's no roads. So there's a whole community, a giant community of people that have to have like super powerful 4x4s drive through this deep sand from one town to Corova. And I forget what the other town's called. But there's wild horses out there. Like wild horses live through this whole housing area and on the beach, and you drive your 4x4 out to this area, and you got to bring it. Like you got to run, like there's power and there's water. That's it. Like if you're running groceries in that area, you're making over $100 a trip to go 4 miles on the sand.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So crazy.
We went out there and hung out with like wild horses and like flew kites and shit. And yeah, it was gnarly. And it was really the first time her and I had gone and done something without kids.
Yeah, right.
Since we can remember, because we've got a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old. And that was the first time like her and I just went on a trip. and it was like 7 days with my wife, just my wife. I don't think that had happened since we were 19.
Yeah, that's what I just experienced too. It's like me and my lady both are working and building businesses, and just like we like what we do, you know? So it's just like we're both doing that a lot. So it was nice to get those, like, I think we got 5 days.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And then, like, and it's not that you're relearning each other, you're remembering why you're with this person. You're like, yep, 100%. You know, when you get rid of all the distractions going around, it's just peaceful. And I'm very, very, very lucky. Most people in my profession don't get to stay married to the same person for 26 years for one reason or another. But she's been my, you know, by my side, no questions asked, 7 combat deployments, you know, whatever comes up, like she's there when I come home every single time. And there's coffee in the morning, and there's sandwiches, you know, when sandwiches need to be had, and it's hard to beat, you know?
Yeah, man. It takes time to build that too, and you got to get to know each other and go through some life experience, and like, you know, the relationship's hard to build for sure.
Yeah, we just I think the key thing with us is we have nothing in common. Like nothing. The only thing we have in common is each other. Like that's it. So we're always sharing information versus competing for information. If she knows some shit about something, I know nothing about it. She's talking about books and, you know, crazy stuff. I can't even tell you the last book I read. She read, you know, like 127 books last year alone.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, just 2 different people, but like we just complement each other, and it just works, you know. Very grateful, for sure. It's been great.
It's crazy to like be figuring out who you are while you're committed to someone else for so long, you know. Like it's just a good practice, and you always have to like re-meet and take time again, and like it's nice to get some time where you definitely just wake up and you're on the beach basically is awesome, you know?
For sure. And like I said, we've been together since we've been 19, so we've both gone through multiple individual changes growing up, you know, from 19 to our 40s. But I think we just appreciate each other's process, each other's growth, and you grow with it, you know. Some people get offended, like, oh man, you changed. Yeah, I hope so. Like, you know, you should change a little. Like, is it hurting anything? Is it benefiting? Are you happier? Like why are people offended when people in relationships grow? You know, it's they got to think of it as growth versus change.
I mean, life is long, and you got to learn to like manage your time and enjoy it and practice it and figure out and aim, and it takes time, you know. So like doing that, learning to do that for yourself, and then learning to do that with someone else while they're doing that, like trying to figure out what to do. It's nice when you can find things and both be focused separately or together. You have things in common too, like, and then like it's beautiful.
Like my free time's super limited just with work and, you know, the electronic leash of work, right?
There's responsibilities.
But like on a Saturday morning, I wake up and I go to the skate park. It's not like, oh, you're going skating again. It's like, she's like, man, have a good time. Like she knows that's important to me, and she knows that makes me better when I get that time to myself. I'm better for the family. I'm better for work. Like she respects the fact that I need those things, and she wants to go plant her plants outside, and she wants to read her books. I don't want to do those things. So like we'll come back together, enjoy each other when that time comes. I don't feel the pressure to do everything she's doing. She doesn't feel the pressure to do what I'm doing, and we don't hold each other back from doing what we need to do as individuals so we can be better as a team.
Yeah, allowing each other to have space is a good life skill to learn. Like that takes practice, you know. Like
I mean, some people are like, oh man, my girl likes everything I like, and we do everything together. I'm like, oh man, that would be a long marriage. like, oh man, I need to get away every now and then. It's not get away from her. I just need to be me and have that freedom, you know, at that
I think
point.
That's the beauty of having something that engages you, that's like a practice or like a passion, you know, something other than, you got to have other things besides just a relationship. Your relationship can't be the all is, you know. Like,
and like you've always had skateboarding, like as long as you can remember. So I didn't start skateboarding like, oh, I'm going to learn how to skate and I'm going to stay with it till I was 41 years old. So in school, like high school back in, you know, I graduated in 95, everything was about sports and surfing. I did stuff all the time. But then I joined the Army and everything was about work and family. And that was my life for 21 years. It wasn't until I was 41 years old
It
that I
takes
took
that long to build it, dude.
at 41, I was like, I started skateboarding. I was like, oh my God, I have something that's mine. I hadn't had something that was mine for years. And it just made me personally a better person for everyone else once I was doing something for myself.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense, man.
very, very grateful for skateboarding. And it could have ended up being anything. It could have been golf or whatever, but it was skateboarding that brought that harmony to my life. I'll never say life balance, because in my line of work, you won't get life balance. But you can have moments that bring harmony to everything else you're doing. And that's what skateboarding does for me.
Yeah, that's like the harmony comes from being creative with the ups and downs, because you're going to experience downs.
Yeah.
Hey, so we were talking about just like, what were we talking about?
A marriage, relationships, time, space, skateboarding.
Having skateboarding like in your life and having that as your own little thing, like it's rad to have your own little space, to work on something like
for
that.
Sure.
It's like necessary in a lot of people's lives, is to have something that they are working on or having fun with or creating with or whatever. Have your identity around something else too,
It's my behavioral health. Like, man, I can go talk to someone about all my problems, or I can go skate them away. And I'd rather just skate them away. And you're like, oh man, well, talking to someone's healthy, man, 100%. A lot of people do talk to people, and that's cool. For me, it's when you're out there, you can put things into perspective. It just gives me that time to think and kind of work through things. And you don't even realize you're doing it because you're just skating, but you're clearing the mind. You're getting comfortable with yourself again. And that kind of helps you be more honest with, okay, what was my problem? What was someone else's problem? Or how did I perceive it? And I don't know, it just helps me put everything back where it belongs, and helps me go for the next week. Like, it resets me for the whole next week, just having that time to put things in perspective.
Yeah. And then on top of it, it's like physically good for you, like just the mechanics of moving your body, and like it's like that makes you feel alive on top of like all the rest.
Get outside, get some sun, like get out there in the elements, and like, man, it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. And I need it.
Yeah, man. I had a moment like today, because I've been on vacation and like busy with like work and packing boxes and like all good work, but I haven't had a time to like, it's been a while since I've had a good session. And today I came home and I sat down, and I remember I had all this footage from a session where I took all like the groms that skate for all I need. I took them all to these street spots and like hill bombs and stuff. And I was like watching and editing and like going through, and it's just like pulled me right back into that whole day. Like I was like, oh, and it made me so grateful. I was like, it always reminds me like, we have fun. Like, it's been like over a week and a half.
Right.
That session happened, and then I watched it again. I'm like, that whole day was unbelievable, like, and that's like rad to have that aspect with skating.
You got to have the fun stuff. I don't know if this will show up. So like, I bought these toys.
Oh, sick. Marty.
Marty, like at the hoverboard.
Back to the Future.
And that caused me to say, okay, as a kid, everybody wanted a hoverboard. Obviously not a thing. I was like,
but they look so cool. They got to be a thing. Come on, Elon.
But I said I could build one. I could build one now. So I went to Splatter Goat Grip Tape. They do custom grip, and I had the grip made. And then
sick.
And then I got a super colorful screened board from Brand X Toxic.
That's the photo you sent me. Yeah.
And then I put some light up wheels on it, and I've been sessioning that board around, and I'm just making my own little hoverboard video for Back to the Future. Like, I got to get a couple more clips. I want to get towed on the back of my truck like Marty did. And
you got to
do some stitching, sketching, and then so I'm fucking over here playing with the damn hoverboard toy. Like, I gripped over the bolts, and like some haters are like, oh, what an amateur hour, I gripped over the bolts. Hoverboards don't have bolts. you know?
Yeah,
So
it's
I was
about
like,
the way it looks.
yeah, it's like I gotta grip over these things whether I want to or not. It's just that's how the looks gotta be. But I
You got to
bought
get
these.
the Yeezys, the
Yeah,
shoes too. Imagine,
yeah,
I know like some company made that shoe, like a
yeah.
replica.
Nike made it. They're
Oh,
super
did they?
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did wear some Nikes when I've been skating it just to kind of keep it in touch. But I went out and got a slappy session, went and got a bowl session. Actually, I bought these light up wheels because I was going to a night session with the guys here, and
Sick.
I hadn't been to one of the night sessions. The park isn't lit up, but they bring in a bunch of construction lights every weekend, and they just light it up,
That's
light
the
up the
best
bowl.
though, because it makes
Yeah,
each like obstacle, like the lights are
right.
on it. You know,
It
you're like,
changes
oh,
the whole perspective of the bowl, like the lines and the shadows and everything. It
that,
looks great.
dude, we used
Uh,
to do that all the time. Street skating, we would
yeah,
sneak into places and just like hope no security and
yeah,
like find plugs or bring a generator and light the whole
right,
thing. You feel like you're like doing something
yeah,
illegal, which you kind of are, but like
right,
then everyone gets the clips, you break down all the stuff,
yeah.
and it's like a collective effort. It's like the craziest way to get a trick.
So for that session, I just set up a new big fat 10-inch PAL ripper with rat bone wheels on, like just straight old school.
Oh,
But
rad.
but when the sun went down, I went and switched the wheels out for these light up wheels that light when they spin.
Good idea. Good idea.
There's a
Some pew, pew, pew,
right.
pew.
So there's a metal piece in the middle, like where you would normally put a bearing spacer from back in the day.
Yeah.
And when your bearings push against that, that spins and generates the electricity to
Oh,
create
nice.
for the lights in the wheels. So I got a bunch of clips on that board with these light up wheels. And I was like, what can I do with these light up wheels? And then I bought that Back to the Future toy. And I was like, I can't create a hoverboard, but I can create a pretty cool effect with these light up wheels.
Oh, hell
So I
yeah.
went all in on I'm gonna build this board. Like I bought lime green A77 trucks for it. Like
What?
I went all in. Like it's fun. It's stupid fun. And got it put together last weekend, and it was crap weather, but I found a gap in the weather and ran out and just grabbed some slappies, and I grabbed some early grabs in the bowl because I gotta make the damn thing fly, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, it's a pretty flat board because it's like an 80 style board. Not
Yeah.
much of a tail. I need to see if I can get like a good ollie into a bank. I've got the 360 camera now, so if I can get the cam looking at from the down angle and I can get
Yeah,
the
yeah.
board tweaked, I'll have like a cool hoverboard, flying picture.
I feel like you got to get the angle where like I don't know if you can put the camera on the ground where there's a puddle and you like
Yeah,
skate through it, because in the movie he like gets
yeah.
stuck out on that pond,
On the
right?
pond, yeah. Like
And then it shows him just kicking the water.
hoverboards don't work on water.
You need to
Yeah,
get that. You just need a little puddle and you can replicate
yeah.
that
You
like
gotta have power. Yeah. No,
Dude,
it's classic. So
that's
yeah, I
that's a
was like,
good that's time well spent.
yeah. And like I set up all these boards, but they're all so different. And like, man, if I'm going to be a 45-year-old skateboarder, I may not have the best tricks, but I'm going to have the exact board I want for whatever style of skating I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like I've got a different board for slappies than I have for a bowl than I have for a pool. Like I've
The
got
collection's going well.
right. Oh man, there is a quiver. Like I thought about making a video like who's that Marvel dude with the bow and arrow, like a Hawkeye, right?
Pew,
I
pew.
thought about like editing a video where I'm pulling each different type of skateboard out from behind
Oh,
my
that's
jacket, and just edit it together. So it's like whoop-ah, whoop-ah,
That's perfect.
Because I don't know, I just love having all of them. I got so much cool stuff. I've got boards lined up here on my bed that should be hung on people's walls.
Yeah, yeah. Tupac in the backdrop.
Oh,
Chew, chew.
here's oh man, the light. So this is a
I can see it right there.
This is a Freddy Desoto board. He was a
10
professional.
inches.
Yeah, he was a skater for Veriflex and Am for POW back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Wait, how
And
wide is that thing too?
this is over
It
10
is.
inches. Yeah.
Dude,
And
heavy.
Lance Mountain did these what if boards for him. What if he was to get a second Veriflex board?
Oh, sick.
So I bought that. Like
the
that's
white,
sick.
the white, the all white and the
Oh,
backdrop's
man.
awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I've got this one shows up. This is from Salba, Steve Alba, straight off
Yeah, I see it.
his
Swim
Instagram.
Alba.
He's
Pool
like
cleaner?
just pal. Salba's pool cleaning. He breaks
Sick.
into all the houses, but he wrote a little special message on there for me. And
What? That's sick.
yeah.
The wheel wells are all cut out. Like,
Oh yeah, this thing was sick. I broke the shit out of it.
Oh yeah.
See
Went
that?
hard on that thing. Yeah, I see that.
Well, I was supposed to be bowl skating it because that's what it's for, but I got carried away and I was like, man, can I heel flip this thing on a bank?
Yeah, I
The
get that.
answer was no until I cracked the shit out of it. But then I was like, all right, that was a cool board and I just broke it. It's going to be heel flipped. And I put in the work until I landed that shit and walked
Oh,
away.
sick.
But it's like it's so long. It's a really long board. And just,
And
it was
10 inches is like how big's your shoe? What are
man,
we
11,
talking?
11 and a half.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
Mine's a 9. So imagine
Yeah.
doing it with a 9, dude.
Right. It's a
That's
lot
a
of
lot.
flick.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a lot of popsicle danger going on.
Right.
Like, cool.
But that one, just the wheelbase was so long. I just had trouble finding the right position because I felt like my foot was so far forward already.
Yeah.
And just trying to get it because you popsicle that.
Yeah.
You're
be
over
up in the
like,
air.
I'm only 5'10". That one's gonna
You're gonna be
change my
hovering like
life.
an
Right.
inch above the ground.
Right,
Like,
for sure.
dude.
So, but I went and got the tricks. I was stoked on that. Heel flips is all I got for flip tricks. So if I don't get them on whatever board I'm skating, I get super frustrated. It's like it's my only flip trick, you know.
So I learned heel flips first too.
Yeah.
And then
I think it's my ankle. Again, been jumping out of airplanes for so many years. The idea of my ankle doing that, I just can't even imagine it.
it takes
For a
time to like
kickflip.
build that
Yeah.
flick and like
I've
it's
got 26 years of cartilage built up in the ankle. It's like the physical movement of it. I
get
don't know if
that.
it's gonna happen, you know.
Yeah, I get that. You might
So,
have to go switch or nollie
yeah.
because if you can't
That's
do it
true.
regular, you could practice a switch and it's like you're starting from the beginning either
Right.
way. So
Yeah, that would make sense.
yeah, and
So,
honestly, like the more you work on your opposite stance, it only opens up more tricks because you
For
start to
sure.
get comfortable riding switch or fakie or nollie.
yeah,
If you do all the stances and find your ollies and all
Yeah.
that stuff, then it opens up like a litany of tricks, you know, where you're like over time, you know,
yeah.
it's crazy.
My fakie heel flip's way better than my regular heel flip. Man, I wish I
What?
could just fakie heel flip everywhere. Like
Yeah.
that's like the cleanest trick I do. Like I stay straight. I can do it up steep banks. Like I can go up steep banks fakie and heel flip and come back down regular. Like I love that
Dude,
shit.
my homie
know?
Elijah, who's 9 years old, and I skate with a lot. Like he's got a crispy fakie heel on a bank ramp too.
Yeah,
Like I've
so
been seeing
fun.
him learning them and practicing
It's
them.
weird because like you got this momentum shift. You're going up backwards and then you're flicking forward.
And
And
you're
it's just
catching
like,
it hopefully on the way down
yeah, you
into
just
it. Like,
feel it. Like it's like it's just, I don't know, just feel it's a feeling good, like a trick that feels good.
dude,
You know?
bank tricks are the best because you have to find the right speed to get
Yep.
to almost to a stop where you can
Right.
pop and flick it and then catch it back into the ramp. Like
Right.
it's a timing space issue.
Yeah.
A lot
I
of
learned-
times I just take a step back a lot of times if I feel like I need more space. I try to give
Yeah.
myself more space. It gets easier.
I learned most of my tricks on a bank or a box. Like flat ground kicks the shit out of me. But
Mhm.
when I'm focused on the bank or I'm focused on the box, for some reason I get the trick a little better.
Yeah, it gives you a little more leverage because I know you're like it's throwing you
Yeah.
off balance, but it's also pushing you up kind of already. So
Yeah. I
flat
think
ground,
even
you're a dead stop. You gotta like muscle it up.
I think even just the obstacle itself gets me thinking about something else. So I'm not thinking about
Oh, get you out of your own way.
right, not thinking
Yeah.
about the whole trick. Or I try and learn things in lines. So I'll do a trick I know I can do, the trick I want to do, and the trick I know I can do. So I'm thinking about the whole line
Yeah.
versus the one trick. Because
Yeah.
nothing like wears me out more than one trick over and over and over and over and over and over again to get it. Like that. I did a video years ago where I talked about the difference between practicing and skateboarding. Like I don't want to practice. I want to
Yeah.
skateboard. So how can I learn new tricks in the flow of whatever I was already doing? I don't want to dedicate a whole time block to today I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
No, I want, because then I'm not skating. I'm just miserable. So
There are
I'm gonna-
people that like that structure
Yeah.
of like just practicing one trick, you know?
Yeah.
I used to be like that when I was younger. I was more like controlling and more like I can do this. I'm gonna
Yeah,
fucking do this. And then
right.
you just fixate on something until you get it the way you want it to look. Like as I got older, I got more spontaneous. Like whatever
Yeah.
comes, just let it ride and you try to learn a trick based off of where you are, you know?
So that's what I do now. Is like there's things I obviously want to learn, but is what I do is I'll casually toss them around for a couple sessions and just kind of like in the mix of things. And then that day where I'm casually tossing it, where it's like, okay, this is gonna go. that's when I buckle down and go after it. So that was like,
that's smart.
Front side slappy no slide. That one for me. At first it was just like, okay, knock it up on the curb. Oh, a little stall to fakie. And then it's like, oh, it went and I stayed balanced. Okay, today's the day. And then it was like, man, I'm gonna get it. And then
sometimes you got to revisit things and throw out a testers and like see like, did that hard work add up? And then like some days you just psychologically got to be in the mood, or you gotta like, dude, it's insane how that works. I saw the ones you were getting, dude. You were doing them way sick. You were locking them in high speed and like holding the whole front side nose slide, which is hard to do. Shit. It actually helps to go faster with that trick, you know, but it's scarier.
It's scary because when you eat it, it goes bad.
You got to be fully in. Then you're bouncing off the metal of the box and you're like, oh shit.
Man, when you slip out and your feet are going backwards and your face is going forward, that's a bad day, you know.
Oh, you got to look up Moses Ikonen. Ikonen, I don't know how to spell his last name, Moses, but if you type in Moses Red Dragons, he had some of the gnarliest. He's done some of the gnarliest front nose slides I've ever seen in my life. And so many epic ones. It was just
such a cool trick for me because I'm 44 at the time. Like learning how to slide backwards on a skateboard at 44 was like some weird moral victory for me. Like,
I get that. I totally get that.
You know, I went backwards on a slide on my skateboard, like the simplest shit. But for me, it was huge. It was just like, I never thought I would get like a front side board of any type.
Dude, front sides look so good too. Like the way front side, especially front side nose slide, that's one of like, it's a real photogenic trick too.
Right. Especially when you're wearing your All I Need sweatshirt.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Good looks. It's so true. That's awesome. Dude, so like I'm actually skating this weekend too. We're gonna go to ALLiNEEDSKATE Park, which is like in Connecticut. I think it's like a 2-hour drive. But I told I threw out the skate signal, the bat signal, the AIM signal to like the group chats of like the young dudes and the older dudes, and I got like a good crew of people that are like, we got a van now, so we have 8 seats and 7 because I'm one of them. So and then we try to fill them with like a diverse group of like different skaters that I know so many young kids, and like I know I've been skating for so long. I'm like we have different sessions.
You got everyone from a 9-year-old to Brian Westgate in the trunk.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly, dude. Exactly. So it's like, we got a good crew going to the sick park. It's like a 2-hour drive, and it's at a lake, so you can swim at the skate park.
Oh, nice.
And then it's just this big concrete flowy park, and it flows in a big circle, and then there's all these humps and quarter pipes in the middle, and you can just like go around the perimeter and just, it's so fun. And there's a sick ass mini ramp, and you're under all these trees, and you're at this beautiful lake. So we're gonna do that.
That's sick.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that.
Oh,
like a lake and a skate park. Is there a rope swing involved here somewhere?
Last time we were just throwing like the young ones in the water, like just grabbing them, like throwing them. I don't remember a rope swing, but that would be epic. It's a 2-hour drive. It's a hike, but like if you do it and you stay for hours, you're just gonna have a good day, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I saw 2 young kids like get into like they were kind of playing, but they were kind of getting serious. Like they were just like choking each other out, and like choking each other, like getting all aggressive. But they didn't get out of control, but they were like, nobody was there. The last time I was there, really, it was kind of empty. I went there one time and it was a full rain. It rained so heavy and we're just trapped under, and then it dried and we got to skate. That was a pretty epic session.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We just have our local park, and then there's a park on Fort Bragg. The base actually has its own park, which is kind of cool.
Where are you again exactly?
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina, that's right.
And then we've got Rowan Park, which is our local, and then Florence, South Carolina, just rebuilt
I love that parks. Name. Florence is such a sick name.
Florence has got a cool park. So they did hire a skate company, skate park building company, to come in and build their bowl and everything. But they had some extra materials and time left at the end, and they didn't just pack their shit and leave. They walked 10 feet over to the DIY spot that was down there, and they cleaned it up. So they didn't take away anything that made the DIY what it was, but they made that shit look nice, and they put in a couple extra boxes and things like that. And it was really
That's a solid move.
yeah, they made the DIY match the park they just built, like colors and style, without taking away any of the DIY obstacles.
It's a solid move
know?
because there's always just like with anything, there's just some people that either aren't aware and they just trash a place, or they're young, or they get out of control, or they're not having fun, or they're reckless or whatever. But it's a solid move if you decide to do that and like just pick up the trash. I like to do that sometimes, just like where you can make a difference, you know?
It was cool. Like they refinished some of the things, they painted some of the things. Like
that's right.
They put in work.
Yeah,
cool.
People that maintain DIYs are fucking sick. My friend Jared has maintained a DIY for so long and just kept adding, and like the thing is sick, you know? Just grew. Plimside.
And then down in Elizabethtown, which is like a 40-minute drive in Elizabethtown, North Carolina, there's essentially a half pipe. So it's not a vert ramp, but definitely a half pipe, not a mini ramp.
How tall?
I think the short end's about 5 feet. The tall end's about 10, 11 feet.
You could jump off that easy. I know.
Yeah. So went down there once recently. That was the first time I've been down there, and I just got it. All I can do right now is 5-0 grind back down, 5-0 grind back, like little.
Do you wear any pads?
Oh man, I'm 45. I'm wearing all the pads. I'm wearing padded shorts. Like I'm all in on some protection, you know.
Good for you. Smart.
So my level of protection, I'm always going to wear wrist guards, because that's the number one thing I'm going to smash first. So I've worn wrist guards since day one.
When I first learned skateboarding, I always had like a wrist injury or an elbow swollen, or like my shins or my ankles, like because you're learning how to like move your body and like figure out bails, and sometimes to get certain tricks you got to know how to take a fall that way. That's the only way. Like so always wrist guards. If I'm trying a board slide or grind on a ledge or rail that I've never tried, I'll usually throw elbow pads on, because I'm worried about slipping back. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then if I'm doing something where I'm just not comfortable, then the helmet comes on, and then knee pads in the bowl. And I have no shame in wearing knee pads. No one has ever given me any crap about wearing pads, probably because I get the 45-year-old man pass. Like I can walk in like fucking steak butt marshmallow man, and everyone's gonna be like, oh man, right on. So like I take advantage of that, but I have no problem padding up. In the summer it's just so hot, but I do prefer to wear knee pads with shorts versus pants in the winter. Like I hate wearing knee pads with pants, like but in the winter, like it's so cold at the bowl. But our sunnier days, we get less rain in the winter here than we do in the summer. We get these afternoon thunderstorms here in the summer. Winter you can skate year round, it's just cold, you know. But
I know, I'm in New England, so
I can't imagine. But you got an indoor, like we don't have an indoor.
I'm so fortunate. I have the Edge indoor skate park in Taunton, Massachusetts. It's been there forever, and like it's like it's a saving grace, man, in the middle of winter. Because people just go there from all different states, and you're just like, there's a session to be had. Even if there's no one there, that's kind of like a lucky catch, because it's like, wow, the park's wide open.
We got an indoor up in Holly Springs, which is about an hour and 15-minute drive for me, but it's made more for BMX. They do have a micro mini ramp upstairs, which is like 1.5 feet tall. And I had never skated a mini ramp. And like 6 months into my skating, I went there and I was like, I'm going to skate this today. And I walked away with a 4-trick line after never skating a mini ramp in my life. I was like, oh man, that's cool. It was simple. It was like rock to fakie, rock and roll, fakie, rock. And then I had 50-50 across the top and something else, and I was like, oh man, that's a victory. But dude, like it doesn't transfer to a regular ramp. Like that little micro mini like just builds so much confidence.
But that's a good place to start, because you can learn it there without having to like get too hurt from a fall, you know.
And the rest of the place is like giant for you know, scooter kids to fly 10 million feet in the air into foam pits and stuff. And then they've got a wood pump track in the back, but it's definitely made for BMX on a skateboard. It's super fast, and the turns, like you're going to be on the wall. You're going to be Top Gun.
Sounds kind of
You're going to be inverted.
Kind of sounds fun.
Get that shit, yeah. So they got
sounds
that.
Hard though.
And then there's one place called Above the Board in Winston-Salem. It's about 2 hours from here, but that's pretty legit, like indoor park. I haven't been up there yet, just because it's 2 hours away. But I definitely need to make that trip.
Yeah, if you go and intend to stay for like 3 hours, it's worth it.
Yeah. So
on the mini ramp, I always say go from the bottom up. Learn to pump and balance on the ramp. Like, it's easy to get carried away or to like not be able to learn how to pump naturally on the ramp. But it sounds like
for me, the bowl skating helps with the pumping because I bowl skate a lot. The difference for me, like bowl skating, I'm in a flow of things. I'm going around, so I'm getting tricks on the way to the next place. The mini ramp and the one down in Elizabethtown, that back and forth movement, like my brain is not trained right now to calculate what I'm going to do next. I have to know.
It's because you have to practice switch stance. Because that's what you're doing is you're going up regular and then you're riding away fakie and that turns into switch.
Yeah.
So then you have to be comfortable. You have to learn to push switch comfortably and have your feet wide and learn to ride switch comfortably.
For sure.
And then so you'll hit one wall and then you'll come back and you'll be able to set up switch for the next wall and be able to navigate it. You have to definitely think early and be set up earlier.
Right.
Sometimes it helps to have more space in between. If it's really quick, it's hard to like adjust.
This one's got a pretty good flat bottom. It's just I think you got to have a plan. I think that's what I learned the first time. I was just dropping in like 5-0 kick turn at the top of the coping over and over and over again. I was just dizzy, I didn't have a plan, so I just went round and round and round and round and round and round. And I was like, okay, I'm dizzy. I'm gonna step out now.
Yeah.
So, but it's something, if it was close, like that's definitely something I would be down to learn how to do.
Mini ramps help your style too, because you have to learn to set up different stances and navigate both walls. So it helps you loosen up a bit, It's like, but I just say go from the bottom and pump your way to the top. Yeah. That way, if you do that every session, start at a dead stop on the flat bottom and then give yourself like back up to the back, the back wall, and then give yourself as much space and then kick and learn how to pump from the bottom up till you're up at the coping. That'll help you find your timing too, because then you'll actually earn where the coping is. Because a lot of times people drop in, they have so much speed, it just shoots them up there.
Yeah.
And then they're scared to come in. Yeah, you gotta go from the bottom up.
I'm just shooting in 5-0 kick turn and back down. Yeah, I'm just back down the other side,
The control.
I filmed some with the 360 camera, so we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah,
360 cameras, dope.
Yeah, those things. Is it the one where you have to hold the stick?
Yeah, so I got so I got the GoPro Max one, and what I like about it is not like holding it. I've learned that I can set it up on my tripod and I can just skate everywhere, and then in the editing I can move it like a cameraman wherever I'm at.
I've actually used one before, and I remember like messing with that like functionality.
So that's what I like about it. It's like, oh man, I don't have a camera guy, but my boy Tripod here with this new camera is going to hook me up.
It's like having like, come on, Elon, skate filmer robots, drones, like
it's that
you need a filmer though. Everyone needs a filmer. That's why the filmer is so valuable. You find someone who likes filming. It's like you gotta find someone that loves filming. Because, you respect that guy,
because they are going to follow you so many times.
They're going to be in the trenches with you for sure. The land's going to feel like their make at times. They're going to be like, just as like psyched.
Like I feel bad about it when I'm asking someone to film for me and it's taking me a while and it's digital, like it's deletable. Think about when your generation early on, it was VHS, like people were using real tape.
Dude,
tape
sequences on a camera, shooting the sequences. I was like, everyone felt like I was burning money,
Yeah, it's so much real film,
Yeah, that's Sammy and them. All our videos have been like VX, just because they want to keep that going. Just because it's like you're paying for the film, and it's just something cool to have.
That's gnarly.
We've done some. I do a lot of the digital stuff for the vlogs and stuff, but usually our full lengths, like Sammy's been filming them, and then Dan McGrath filmed some for us. It's fucking but like shooting sequences was always like the one where you're like, I was gonna say on the mini ramp, all that nuance below the coping is where you get the balance to and earn to be up on the coping, So it's like all in learning to pump your way up to the top and learn tail and nose stalls. Even if you start at the bottom and like learn them real basic and try to ride them out, the more you do that, the more control you have, and then as you get that moment, it becomes like a swing set, and then you find the coping, and then
that's what I do. I just need to go take my time with it, because I was there with some homies and they were shredding it, right? That's what they do.
People
and
do
I was
that,
like, so I'm just gonna go full send, but all I could do is up and back, up and back, up and back a million times. I was like, okay, I'm not really accomplishing anything here. So
well, that helps you too, because like
yeah.
you're almost a little bit ahead because now you know what you're working towards, you know, because you can get lucky like dropping in and hitting the coping a bunch. Like you can find a rhythm and a speed, but it's like that gets boring after a while.
For sure.
You got to get down below and like work your way up to that 50 stall. It's called a stall because you got to stall it, and that's where the control comes. And it just takes time, you know, like. But it's the most rewarding shit. A mini ramp and flat ground are the two best things in skateboarding for sure.
I'm the 3Bs. I'm boxes, bowls, and banks. Those
those are all awesome too.
Those are my things, you know.
Yeah.
Like if I had a choice, I would just be a ledge guy. Like I just want to skate ledges. Like I think you can do everything cool on a ledge. You got to get
baggier pants and bring that jersey back.
Yeah, that's it. I mean? Yeah.
Then watch some Rob Welsh. I don't know if you ever know Rob Welsh, but he's from Maine. He's from Maine. He rips.
You know what's funny is I love like street skating, but none of my favorite skaters are street skaters. Like I love all the legends. I like the Lance Mountains and the Chris Millers and, you know, guys, I think Willy Santos is probably the closest thing to like a legend street skater that I watched, but that's because I grew up with him. And
he's kind of like the in between of that whole thing too.
Right.
Willie's unbelievable. He's like a thing of his own. Like Willie's so good at skateboarding.
And like current dudes, the only dude I watch skate and go, holy crap! And I know there's a million great ones. To me, it's Jake Hayes from Death Wish.
Nice. Yeah,
just because he can skate anything, and he's got this incredible pop. Like I've never seen anyone pop the way he does, and every time I'm like, that's incredible. Like how does he get his board up like that? It's just he just does everything with a very casual style, but so much power. At the same time,
street skating is street skating's in an amazing place. Like it's so cool to watch. There's so many good street skating videos because there's so many different styles and ways to approach street skating. It's the best when you watch someone that's dedicated their time to filming a video part, like out in the streets. It's a whole different thing. It's like you're trying to find a trick. You're either finding a spot that matches a trick, or you're trying to look for either or, and like you just end up places. Good things happen sometimes, and you get something you didn't expect. It's so sick to film the whole thing and like work on it. That's like the thing I love about skating.
Then just these versatile guys, like iShot Ware and these guys just they can skate anything. It's
universe. Yeah, they just hit everything. Yeah. Willy Santos is a really nice person too. Like he's always like the coolest dude ever.
I grew up in the same ghetto ass neighborhood as him in San Diego. Yeah, so like in Rancho Penasquitas in San Diego is where I grew up. Where he grew up, that's where his shop's at now, Willie's Workshop.
Yeah, exactly.
And man, he was good. Who knew he was going to be a legend? Like, you know, he's just a little kid like the rest of us. You know, growing up. And I went to elementary school with him. He probably was like, "Who? I don't know that guy." Yeah. But I remember you, man. Dude was crushing it. So
yeah, he's got such a good demeanor and approach. I love Willy Santos.
Yeah, it's just good homies. Like growing up in San Diego was tons of great skaters. And that's like that was just normal. Like everyone was just good. And I was like, man, I'm just pushing. Like I'm just gonna go fast everywhere. That was my skateboarding in the 80s. How fast can I go somewhere?
That's maybe one of the funnest things, dude.
You know, maybe hit a hill, you know, maybe a launch ramp, maybe a crappy slappy board slide back in the day on some giant curb, you know. But that was it. That was the extent of my skateboarding in the 80s. And everyone else got so good when the 90s hit. That's when like skaters really became skaters out there in my mind. And I was like, man, I don't fit into that crowd. And I went the athletic route, and they kept skating. And now I'm like, oh man, all I want to do is skate. And it's funny because like people from like my high school Facebook group were like, you skate? You didn't even skate in school. I was like, nope. I skated at 45. And they're like, that's wild. And then the guys that used to skate barely touch their boards anymore, you know?
Yeah. That's sick. That's a sick thing about skating, is that it's there for you at whatever age. Like if you learn to balance and ride the thing, you get the feeling. It's like that doesn't really go out. It's like it stays. Yeah. It stays like a little spark in you, you know?
The crazy part is like I didn't really think about it for years. In 2006 and 7, I tried to teach my kids how to skate because they were younger, and they didn't really bite into it. They weren't, but like I had got my ollie back at that point, teaching them. And then And then life, got in the way. They weren't interested, so I didn't touch it for another 10 years. But during that 10-year period, like, I'm watching videos, I'm reading books, like, I'm absorbed in the culture, but I'm not doing it. And then the minute I had some free time when I was at a year-long school is when I dove headfirst in, and I haven't let it go since. I haven't let whatever life has thrown at me over the last 4 years has not taken away my skateboarding time.
Yeah, thank God,
I've just refused to let. That's the one thing I've refused to let slip away. There's other shit like the garage not clean. Like there's a lot of other things not happening because
I gotta mow my lawn tomorrow, dude.
Yeah.
He just reminded me.
Right. Like, because skateboarding is happening, there's a few things that aren't happening. But it's also like, man, does it really matter if my garage is fucked? Not really. Like, when I need it to be straight, it'll be straight.
You've spoken like a true addict, bro.
Yeah. But today's a sunny day, and we're gonna go skate. And then I get almost brokenhearted when it rains, because my free time is so limited. Like, when I lose a skate day due to rain, my wife will tell you, like, I'm just head down, just miserable, just sad little panda. It's like, oh.
I totally get that, dude.
I turn into a child. I'm just like, sucks.
Just kicking dirt around.
Yeah, for sure. I hate rain. My wife's like, rain's amazing for the flowers. Like, I hate rain.
Yeah, dude, I used to be super like that. You get so worked up about a session because you're like thinking about sometimes you're thinking about what you were working on or what you want to do, and you're just excited, and then dusted. The session gets dusted.
I like being around the people. Like, I don't have like people I call and go, hey man, let's go skateboarding. I just don't have, unfortunately, those peers. But I've got a few dudes from the skate park, like, hey, are you gonna be at the park? Yeah, I'm gonna be at the park, and like have a great time together. Or our local shop, DeVille Skate Shop, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Shout out.
Yeah. They opened an annex shop at the park. So the city had a building there that they used for, it was a regular park before they built the skate park, and they had this empty building that they weren't using. And so they made a deal with them where they're going to run skate camps and things like that, and they get to use that building. So they put a whole annex shop down there. So you've got snacks, you got boards, you got a big screen with videos going all the time. So now you can go out and get your session, and when you want to get a snack or drink, or you bust a bearing or whatever, you can just walk right over to that little annex shop, hang out, chill out with people and support the shop, and then go back to your session without leaving the park. And
yeah, it's
that is amazing.
The Edge skate park has a skate shop too, which is sick. Yeah. So you got everything right there.
Just really appreciate that, because before you would have to literally get in a car and drive 5 miles to go to the shop if you needed something. And now it's just like, oh, it's right here. I got a flat spot on my wheel or whatever. I'm just gonna go fix it.
Session continues.
Yeah, and like I always have extra boards in my trunk because I am an addict and I overbuy, but I share my addiction with any kid that's, crushing, or any person that's got a piece of crap board. They're getting a board, but then they can just go over to the shop and they got all the tools and they can switch their stuff out. And
good move. Good move.
Yeah.
Makes a difference.
I don't know if it's guilty conscience or anything, but I can't stand seeing a kid crushing it on a piece of crap board, knowing that I have all these boards that I could never skate them all.
I get that.
Like I love them all. I buy them all with the intention of skating them, and I just never get around to them. So then, okay, I'm gonna throw this one in the car now, and that's the next board that's going to the next kid. I say kid, a lot of them are like in their 20s, college age kids that just don't have the money or the family support or whatever they need for a board. I'm like, man, here you go. And you'd be amazed. Sometimes it's hard to give away a board. Like, some people don't believe you. Like, hey man, take this. No, are you serious? Like, yeah, man, for real. Like, you deserve it. You're putting in the work. And they're like, oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good move, dude. That helps to the right person that needs it. And to be honest, it's like, it's nice to get that when you get an extra deck, or the deck, your one's beat up, and you get that pop again, and then you get more hours on your board, and it helps, dude. I used to, like, growing up, I was always trying to find ways to buy back my skate time, because, like, things cost money, So, and I'm like an obsessive person, like, and skating was helping me physically and mentally, like, with a lot of baggage and stuff. So, like, anything I could do to get that free time to just focus on skateboarding was like helping me, you know. So just going to do it like a shop when I was growing up, Solstice would give me extra decks, like used decks that same thing you're doing.
Yeah.
And it gave me they could tell I was like really focused on skating. They knew it wasn't going to just be wasted, you know?
Right.
And it helped me, you know?
Yeah.
Because that was time I could just be focused, and I had that board gives you more hours, you know?
A lot of time people are getting like brand new boards still wrapped up for me, or I might have had a board set for like 3 sessions for a board. For me, you're getting a brand new board. Like, I'm not killing a board in 3 sessions. Like, oh man, here, just take this. I can't in good conscience hold on to this when I've got boxes at home. I've tried to get better at it, not buying for the wrong reasons. But I've realized that I'm actually a secret art collector, and that's why I have so many boards.
Welcome to the club, dude.
Right. There's just the certain amount of art that just goes to every one of them that makes them so different. And if you don't get it, when you get it, you may never get it. So like, I'm going to buy it, you know, and hopefully get around it. You know, you never know when you need an extra Neil blender laying around, you know, ready to go.
That's sick.
Like, oh shit.
I love showing off my collection. Like, I'll have like some of the team riders come over and I'll break out of some of it and just be like, check it out, you know. Like,
I've got a wall of boards. Like, I've bought a lot of these Lance Mountain special editions. GNS has been dropping some classics. I just got this. This is a complete replica. Sorry for the camera. It's a complete replica of a 1981 Saldano pineapple board, right?
Sick,
so it's all signed. Oh, wow.
I love that color, that like, like a beige almost, or like a.
So they issued this, which was the 1981 remake, but then he still skates. I mean, he's been pro since the 70s. And they did a then and now. So that's his then board. And then they did a now board, which is a little bit wider, a little more of a welcome shape, kind of a fat board with a shape. So I bought the then and now series from them, setting that up. And here's the funny part. You might appreciate this. I ordered tracker trucks to put on the GNS board. Like, I didn't know we could still find tracker trucks, and they're still making them.
Are they still on the website and everything?
They do. Yeah. So I bought some tracker trucks, and I got some old GNS 59 millimeter, you know, wheels, kind of like clear iridescent yellow from back in the day to go on it.
That's it. I used to ride trackers.
So,
or like, I'd have like a tracker base plate and then like a Orion like hanger or something. Like mixing and matching.
But the dudes over at GNS, they don't drop a lot of boards, you know, mostly a surfboard company now. They were, you know, surf before they were skateboard, and then they started making skateboards in the 70s, or really in the 60s. And then obviously sponsored Stacy Peralta back in the day and their team, but now they only drop some remakes of some of their 70s and 80s boards, like the Warp Tail 2 or something, a special drop like this. But man, I'm such a huge supporter, because when I was growing up in San Diego, like, GNS was like, that was the culture, that was the surf culture in skateboarding. PAL was the, you know, Bones Brigade and all that, but GNS was very San Diego. So anytime I can support them on a drop, I'm definitely picking that shit up. And when I pulled these boards out, it's not very often you pull a board out and you're like, this is just really well made. Like, the paint they use on these boards is like a matte, and it's just a flat match. It's so nice. It feels like care was put into it, you know?
Yeah, that's
man. I love it. But I like all this shit. It's definitely an addiction. It's definitely a problem. Like, it's like, there's shit. I probably have 15 complete set up right now. They're all different.
Where are you keeping them?
I've got a rack in my doorway when you first walk in the house that I had made, an oak rack that holds 9 boards completes, and then the trunk is packed because I don't know what I'm going to skate today, because every board is built for a different purpose. And then there's some here, and I took over this is my daughter's room. I took over while she's in college for my YouTube
You're in
studio.
the podcast studio.
Yeah. So there's some boards in here, you know, but man, it's a crazy addiction. And it, like, is it the colors? Is it the fact that I can? Is it the art? Is it it's
all of it, man.
The possibilities in every board, that like something drew me towards that board. Like, I wanted it. And I think it's it's endless possibilities in every board. And all these different boards make me want to skate different ways too.
Yeah.
I don't do the same tricks on the same boards. Like some boards just make you possible or help you get different tricks, how, depending on how it's set up.
It brings out a different style. Like if a board's set up for carving, you're going to tend to go that way, it kind of can restrict it,
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That seems like you open up a lot of possibilities,
Yeah, it's definitely an addiction though. Like when I have to move, I'm going to be like, man, that's a lot of boards. When I have to put them all in one spot to pack them, and like when I have to like have my intervention with myself and come to reality of how much skateboard shit I have gathered up over the last 4.5 years, it might be a little embarrassing.
You're talking to the right person though. I back it fully.
Like so, I was going to put your microphone board behind me for this because I've got your Shetler
sick, man.
So yeah, fucking
I love that
microphone
graphic.
board. Yeah, that's a sick graphic.
That was our wartime series, and it was just kind of just the microphone. That was when I was starting the podcast too.
Hell yeah. And then I've got your the Prosper board set up as my street board. So I don't get to skate this board a lot because I've made myself a deal. It will not get skated in a park. Like an all I need board cannot be skated in a nice crispy park. Like for me, I have to get street clips on this board.
I respect that. I respect the shit out of that.
I put rails on it. I put sex bolts on it too, so the rails won't get loose.
Oh, sick.
I'm riding it with Ace.
Wait, the sex bolts go across?
Yeah, they go through the top, and then you drill the male portion of the screw through the rail, and then it goes to the female portion going through the board.
Yeah,
keeps it nice and solid. I put some Ace AF1s on it.
Oh, nice.
With some Dodo bushings though, because the Ace bushings are way too smushy for street for me. I need a little more stability. It's great in the bowl, bad for street for me. And then I did Rick the Chrome Clouds on it because I don't know what terrain is going to be. So I wanted a little bit softer wheel, but I wanted chrome rims because it's a Prosper board.
Yeah, let's
say. so it needed some chrome on it, but it doesn't leave my car because that's the one I'm going to get street clips on. Like if I'm going to the street, that's the board I'm going to ride. So my goal is to get 12 street clips on that board this year. And because I've never posted a street clip outside of a slappy.
Dang, dude.
So
that's good though. That means there's a whole landscape out there to explore.
So at 45, can I get 12 tricks in the streets?
Absolutely.
That's the
goal. Dude, you need to find a bank first off.
Yeah.
Right? Like find a bank for sure. And then go from
there.
Need
a bank, need a good ledge.
Yeah.
I think I could do some sort of gap, but I think I'm gonna early grab it.
Ooh.
Just for that's what I'm probably gonna do.
So I'm working on an edit right now, and it's gonna go up hopefully tomorrow. Watch that, because dude, the young bucks, I took them around my town and like other areas, and I found like gaps and all types of crazy stuff that would work for them. Because they're beginners at a certain level. Like it was their first time going to street spots, so like. We're just I'm exploring a city, but with the mindset of like a 9-year-old, because Elijah's 9 and Chloe's like 12 or 13. And then we have like 15, 16. So we found so many fun spots. You should get a hill bomb in your street clip.
I'll definitely do that. Yeah.
Find like a fun hill bomb and film it. We got a bunch in the next edit drop. And
I did one hill bomb. It was funny. It's a short video because that's all the video is a hill bomb. And nice. I hadn't bombed a hill since the 85, right, in San Diego. And I set up I bought the Alva Lost 78 deck because they refound the shape of the original 1978 Alva. So I bought that, put some Ace on it and some, I don't know what the wheels were, but some big soft street wheels. And the funny part is I set this board up, I was like, I'm going to bomb this hill. And I just went to the hill and just went down, and not halfway, the first quarter of the hill, I realized I haven't adjusted these trucks. I haven't bombed a hill in a million years. What do I remember? weight on the front foot, weight on the front foot, weight on the. That's all I remember from the 80s was as long as you have weight on your front foot, you'll stop the speed wobbles.
Never abandon ship.
Yeah,
dude.
that's all I remember. And I just went, because at first I was just gonna carve it, right? But then a car started coming up this way, so I got going straight. And once I was going straight, I wasn't bringing that carve back.
Yeah.
So then it was like, okay, we're going.
That's the best. You see a car in the middle of a hill bomb, you're like, fuck, and then you're like, okay, I got this. Like,
yeah, so but I survived it. It's a short clip, but man, yeah, that was fun. And I was like, maybe I should remember to adjust the trucks next time before I just go straight down with straight off the shelf trucks. Dude,
I've been in situations where I didn't have a board and I took someone else's board, or like you just get into it and you're like, oh, this is bigger than I've eaten shit on hill bombing.
Oh yeah.
Where you slide so far, you have the scab on your whole back, man. Basically, and your knees and shit.
Man, growing up in San Diego, was all the black asphalt, like the tar, and that would just get into you, you know. But that was the 80s. Skating for us was like, where's the biggest next hill? Like before people had fancy boards and sliding all around, we were just going, you know, just go, like the movie Thrashing, right? That's what inspired us all, you know, back in the day.
That's the best.
It's still a classic movie. Anyway, everyone should go watch Thrashing. It's just great, you know. I just love it. But I don't know. I think every board, like I was saying, just has different possibilities, and it just opens a door to what's next, you know. Yeah. And I like supporting the skate community. I don't buy anything else. I'm not a car guy. I'm not a gun guy. Like, I'm buying boards. That's what I'm spending my money on. And
hey, you don't got to convince me, dude. Sounds like someone else, not me, bro.
Yeah. You know, but it's funny because sometimes, like, what am I doing, man? But then I think about the hobbies other people have and the money they're putting into them. I'm like, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing good.
Skateboarding, like, just the aspect of, like, the community aspect of it brings so much joy to, like, just being a part of something cool and be able to be observing it and watching it and seeing other people doing it, and then you contributing in your own way. And it's so cool that there's so many different people in skateboarding and different approaches now. It's like, it's unbelievable, like, the depth that skateboarding has. And
here's something funny, like, off the subject. When I was in Korea, I'd have to, you know, take the train to all the different skate parks. And if I set up a new board and we got on the train, I felt like such a poser because of like this crispy, fresh everything board. And here I am, like American on the train. Like, it's like, I love a fresh board, but not when I'm traveling because it makes you look like you don't skate.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would skate like the most beat up boards if I was traveling far, just because I didn't want to look like this board's never touched the ground. You know,
like, the guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, look at this guy. That board's never done a single ollie.
Is this more fashion than function,
right,
or what?
Right, yeah.
You're real. Out there.
But like, I don't know why I would think about that on the boards. Like, I would be setting up a board and I'm like, oh man, this looks way too good. Where's the shittiest set of trucks I've got? Like, they're going on this board, you know. So funny. This
one kid, I can't remember where we were, but we were somewhere, and this like kid was like, he's just looked at my board, and it was like a new board, and I didn't. And to be honest, I didn't do that many nose slides, but he called me out. He looked at my nose, and he's like, and it wasn't scratched up, it looked new. And he's like, yo, you must not be good. You look at your nose. Like, he called me out. He's mad little. And I was like
I was number 2 in the world, man.
I was skating all the time, but he was right. I wasn't doing as many nose slides as I should have been. So I forgot it in, dude.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that was weird.
What's going on with World, man? Why are they shutting the website down? Did you see that?
Well, so we had the website shut down for a while, dude. Like, because we're selling direct to skate shops.
That's good.
Yeah. So, but it's like an official, like, we're officially shutting it down just to sell direct to skate shops.
Nice.
Yeah. Which is nice. It's a good approach. And that's the approach I want to go, because we have a good amount of skate shops that support World and All I Need and stuff. Yeah. So to sell direct to them is like the way to go, you know?
I definitely passed your information to DeVille, Terry at DeVille Skate Shop. I'm going to re-engage him on that one.
Sick, man. I want to come down your way. So I got to get to North Carolina because there's too many people down there that I like know that are cool, and I want to hang out and skate. So I still have that on my agenda as far as like a trip in the van and pick my crew. And I just
You guys got to plan it so you hit North Carolina and then 8 hours to Orlando. Orlando is building amazing parks right now.
We've done like Orlando, like for years and years. We'd go down for Surf Expo and then street skate. I think we're gonna go and stay more in that area, like Virginia too. Hit Virginia Beach and then hit North Carolina.
Virginia Beach just got a nice new park last year. I know you're looking for street spots, but they just built a huge, nice new park.
I mean, we'll go to parks too. Like I'm down to go visit skate parks and just have fun and skate whatever, you know.
Oh yeah.
We'll find street stuff too, but I also was thinking like just show up and skate local parks. It'll be fun as hell.
How's the apparel versus skate going? Are you finding that division where you want it to be?
It's getting there. It takes time, but like we've got it now where it's like there's a little bit of separation, which has been awesome. Like to be able to do different stuff with All I Need with different people and promote different things. Because I grew up with just skating, you know. So like, All I Need Skate is just like mostly it's skateboards, you know. That's what I think of it, you know. With the apparel, like I love fashion and I know so many creative people. It's like I want to be able to expand and do more in that aspect. So like I've like been transitioning it so we could run them as separate entities almost, you know?
I got a question for you. I've kind of wondered for a while. What is your obsession with the sea? So lighthouses, octopuses, like is that just because of the nature of where you grew up, or like is there something to the ocean with you that's like deeply internal? Because you do a lot of ocean style graphics.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up skating New Bedford, and it's like where Moby Dick's out of, and it's a port, and all the boats there, and like there's the sea element. I mean, it's a city, and I lived in the projects, but like my mom would work down by the docks, and like it. So, and then New England just covered with it, and my friend Peter is an amazing artist, and he's obsessed with it as well. So, and he lives a little different life than me, so we always collaborate together. And it travels down the coast. Like we get a lot of support all down the east coast.
It makes it very East Coast. Like that's what I take from it, is like it's completely different vibe from the West Coast, and you're bringing that aspect to the East, which street skating in the East, from what I understand, is hard compared to the West Coast. Like we don't have the best sidewalks and curbs and roads, you know. We don't have these crispy red curbs everywhere the West Coast has.
So the weather just destroys and rebuilds the terrain, so it's constantly changing, and nothing's like ever really perfect for too long, you know. Like if you scour enough, like it's a different element, and you got to approach your skating. I love East Coast skating because it's so I don't know, it's like the truest thing. You just go out and you like have to deal with the elements and carve out a spot and make it work, you know. Like when I lived in California, it's amazing. There's like so many good spots, but at the same time, there's something about just having some texture and grit to it, you know. And like,
texture, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
the East Coast has texture for sure.
Yeah, that like videos too, the colors and the spots. You have to get creative, and like you can do it all, you know. It's like so cool. I love it. It's like Northern California is like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, just I like to look at like all the graphics you and your artists are putting together. They're sick. I really like the last set. Blew my mind with the hot air balloon and that shit. That was just we did
like the Explorer series with my friend Matt. That was so fun.
And then just the simple black deck with the praying hands. That thing's beautiful. Like very simple, beautiful deck. I like it all, man. I want them all. I'm always on there looking.
Oh hell yeah! We just dropped another collab with Narragansett Beer too. The Fresh Catch, and I love Peter's art. He did the old lobster trap with the lobster like reaching out for the Fresh Catch Gansett. I love it, and the colors and just like the whole thing is sick. But so with the apparel, I like my lady does a lot of motion stuff, and like Chloe's mom Gina's into yoga and movement, and my girl pole dances, and I know like a lot of kids that have like cool fashion, like Dev has like style and fashion, and like so with the clothes I feel like I can get a little like I can touch into these different worlds and like work with these people that I care about and that I've been skating with forever. That's hanging out with, or like Chloe's mom's. Chloe is one of my favorite skaters. and like my lady, obviously, and
Yeah.
my friend Tremblay shoots these amazing photos. Like, I don't know if you saw the snow owl board that we put out.
It did.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
friend Chris Tremblay just gets lost in the middle of New Hampshire and all over the place and finds the most beautiful photos and animals, and he shoots
You're
amazing
making
photos.
everything there, right? Like I see Instagram posts of the sewing machines going, like you're doing everything local.
Yeah, it's all in-house right there, man.
That's
So all the
awesome.
embroidery, we screen print stuff, we have embroidery, we have a DTG printer, we have the heat press for the skateboards, like it's all
The
in-house right there.
direct to garment printer, that's DTG.
Yeah, so like if
Yeah.
you see our newest run of t-shirts, like I'm
Yeah.
rocking like a sample of Chloe's t-shirt. It's all these birds,
Nice.
and there's so many colors, so it's
Yeah.
literally like printer that prints out
Yeah.
layers, and like
That's sick.
with the screen print, the manual screen print,
Right.
there was so many screens and layers, and it'd be hard to get the tone and the so. But yeah,
That's
so
dope.
we just like, because when I during the last recession when I lost my sponsorship, I just took my savings and put it into, I got a job at a screen printing and a embroidery spot, and I just started catching other people's brands at the end of the
Yeah.
belt, like other people's companies and
Right.
dreams and whatnot, and learning
Catching
how to
other people's dreams. That's a good way to put it.
learning to count and organize and present it and package it and like everything else, and like learn to actually care about the thing and get it out to the customer.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I just worked my way into renting out a corner of the place, because I've been working there for a long time now, since the last recession, and I love all the people that work there. Like
Since 2008. Holy shit, that's a long
yeah,
time.
most of them don't even skate. Like I have my couple of my skate buddies had worked there with me in the
Yeah.
past, like Nick Barth and Jeff and stuff. But now I just like have my own little corner niched out with like these racks with like, I have anywhere from like 2,000 to 3,000 skateboards at a time, and like
Yeah.
moving in and out fast too. Like we're especially in busy season, like I've been boxing up all these orders for, and I press some boards for like other friends brands
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like it's not my main priority, but with World and All I Need, like we stay pretty busy, like,
Right.
and we keep creating more art and working with different people. Like my friend Nick Barth just did this like sloth board that was like an idea I had, and it's just like he's like been drawing since he's a kid, like he was a kid,
Yeah.
and he just has like a funny creative style. So like, and then I don't know if you saw the t-shirt, but it has a quarter pipe that just says All I Need, and it has a Benihana that says Disgust. It's the emotion t-shirt.
Okay. I haven't seen that one. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, it has a little quarter pipe, and it just says All I Need on it, and underneath it just says Joy, because it's like
Nice.
anyone who gets that, and then a Benihana, and it says Disgust, just because like we think it's funny that if you take a Benihana too serious, there's always a guy
Yeah.
that's his trick and he's dead
Right.
serious about it. But it's supposed to be a playful trick, so you got to have
For
a sense of humor about a Benihana.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like the apparel too, like I get to work with other artists too, which is really fun.
And I try and find like the skate company that makes the shirt that doesn't look like a skate shirt.
Yeah.
Like and like a polo shirt that just has like, I don't know, All I Need, So like I know I'm wearing it, but everyone else is like, yeah, he's golfing today.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, it's a skate shirt.
That's awesome.
I bought like a nice it's a long sleeve with a collar and 3 buttons. It's a chocolate shirt, but it's like a nice looking shirt, and like nobody gets it, but I get it.
Yeah, that's
I feel
sick.
like I'm comfortable, and like I'm in a professional environment wearing these all black suede S shoes. People think I'm wearing my dress shoes. Nope, I'm wearing S shoes.
Yeah, it's like you're infiltrated like corporate America.
Yeah, that's
a little bit of skate fashion in there.
Yeah, that's what I try and look for things. What can I sneak in here and there? It's pretty funny. I don't know why I enjoy that. It's stupid because my peers are old and they golf. so I'm like,
I get it, dude. I've always been into it. I love buying like all different types of. I buy like I have a bunch of low tops, mid tops, high tops. I've designed a few. I used to write for Elwood Clothing. I used to get the illest jeans, like and split apparel too. They would just send me boxes of like awesome t-shirts and long sleeves and jackets, and like I have had my clothes collection is as heavy as my like skate collection.
That's the funny thing. Like before I started skating, I went 21 years with like the same clothes I had in high school. Like I wasn't buying clothes or anything. And I started skating. I didn't know I was a shoe head until I started skating and learning about
it's the
different
best.
the shoes. And then once I found the right shoe, I have not really bought anything else. I have like 7 different colors of the same damn shoe. Because once you find that right shoe, man, it's hard to try something else.
I ran through the Costin ones, the Excels for a long
Yeah.
time. I rode these Zodiac shoes. I can't even remember the name, but I must have skated so many pairs. My first pro model for World Industries, I skated. Oh, dude, Zodiac used to send me so many shoes. They'd like go to the ceiling. I'd have like
Yeah.
they just keep sending them. I'm like, all right, and I'd give them away too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just and the boxes too were like ridiculous because Zodiac was owned by Mark Echo at one point. So like
Okay.
the boxes of clothes they'd send, I'd just give them to all my friends and
Hell
family.
yeah.
Like all my crew is like wearing New York stuff or
Hell
something.
yeah.
It's just like goes, dude.
For me, it's the Adidas Tyshawn Jones shoe.
Nice.
That shoe, it fits me. I'm comfortable. My feet don't hurt afterwards. It's just been, once I put that shoe on, I haven't taken it off. Now they put out a low and I tried it, not the same shoe.
Yeah,
Like the minute they made it a low, it changed some things in it that don't work for me. But man, once I found that shoe, like I'm always in fear that they're going to stop making it. Like, and I wear an 11.5. So on the drop, if I don't get that new shoe when it comes out, I'm not going to get it. It's going to be gone. So I've got like a horde of Tyshawns in my room. Like
collection bank.
Yeah. And I don't mean to collect them, but yeah, accidental collection there. It's just the perfect
God
shoe
bless
for me.
you.
Yeah, it's just the best shoe. I don't have to change the insole. It just fits the foot nice. And the first 2 years I was skating, I was trying every shoe out there, and I was just wasting money, destroying shoes, feet hurt, and that changed everything for me. The sad part is I skated a pair of the S Swift 1.5s. I probably skated that shoe better than any shoe I ever skated, but my feet were miserable. But I was getting tricks. Like I felt the board, everything felt right. But man, my feet were tired. Like they were just wearing me out.
I've done that, man. I've wore like shoes that were too small just because like, I don't know, that felt right. But it definitely was hurting my feet more at the time. But even though I could skate in them and fine,
Right. But that'll jack up your knees, that'll jack up your back, like that'll mess up everything over time. Yeah. So finding that nice feel, it's hard to beat. And then
I just got some half cabs because Chloe's been repping wearing them.
I want to try the new ones because I heard they rebuilt them. So the old ones, the first time I tried half cabs, they got a little floppy in the mid top, but I heard they redesigned the whole thing so they're a little more stiff up by the ankle. So now I'm interested in trying the new version of them.
I've gotten them, and this is my first pair, which is crazy. Okay. And I skated in them once, and they felt really good. And then I went on vacation, and I was rocking them like with my heel out, like I squished down the back because I'm on an island and I have no socks. Right. So like I didn't have any sandals or anything. I'm just like a skater, but they were brand new. Yeah. So like so far I've just walked in them like that. But I'm gonna skate them this weekend.
They'll be good and broke in now from walking in them. They'll probably be better.
Yeah, they feel broken in, and I feel like if I just tighten the laces up nice, they'll fit my feet right. But we'll see tomorrow probably, and then Sunday too, because the weekend.
I didn't mean to start a half cab skateboard collection, but I accidentally.
He's a legend, bro.
So I was setting up a new flight deck. If I'm setting up a street board for the park, I usually skate the PAL flight decks, and I think a lot of that has to do with when I started skating. I was 220 pounds. I was worried about breaking a board, especially on board slides. So the carbon fiber or whatever they're using made me feel more confident. So I buy these flight decks, and then I like the old school board. So I buy, Cab would come out with a new one, or then he'd do a special dropper, and I'd pull that. And then I was just throwing them in a box. I wasn't looking at them. I was just throwing them in a box. And the other day I was like, I need to set up a new flight deck. And I pull open this box, and by the end of it, there's like 14 cabs, like doubles and triples of some of them. And I'm like, why the hell do I have so many Caballeros? I've got so many Caballeros. I was sick. I called I was bullshitting with my buddy. You've probably seen his channel, Kevin Nice Try. And I was like, hey man, do you want a cab flight deck? Like somehow I've got way too many of them. He's like, no. I was like, what about any of these other ones? He's like, oh man, the old school dragon would be cool. I was like, yeah, no problem. Just fucking let me box this thing up and give back to the world a little bit, just so I don't
Stop
feel
hoarding so much cab.
Right. Yeah. I was like, why do I have so many cabs? But he
I
made
get
it
it
cool.
though. His board slides, dude. On the last podcast, made Nick watch some cab footage, and it got me sparked on Bob Burnquist again. They're both legends.
Cab's one of those guys that him like Lance, they're just so well rounded. They can do the vert, they can do the street, and they're still doing it. You know, like these guys that were kids when I was a kid, just a little bit older than me, are still out there just crushing it. It's hard not to support it.
It gives you hope, like for real.
I love it, man. But like, man, it's funny. I was like, I didn't know I had a cab collection. Now I know.
That's awesome.
Fuck. But you pass them on. Big Kevin Nitro, you made a good video. So he grabbed it and he said, that Christopher Hyatt kid that rides for PAL, kind of like he rides all the old school boards with no nose.
Yeah, I've seen some of his footage.
So he set up a board just like him and tried to get this dude can skate. This Kevin Nitro up in Buffalo, dude can skate. And he was out there just
New York?
kidding.
Buffalo?
Yeah, he's in Buffalo. Out
they
there
have some cold. Gnarly winters, yeah.
And he's out there in the winter putting out videos every day. And the cool thing is like he films everything on his phone, edits it, and posts it all the same day.
Wow.
Every single video. Like that's kind of his thing. Like skated, filmed, edited on the phone, posted to YouTube all on the same day every time. And he'll get out there and just crush it. I'm like, man, that would take me a year to get that many clips. But he's like a mid-30s dude, just getting it. So I was like, man, let me send this box.
Does he have a filmer?
No, he does it all.
Dude,
he's doing it all himself. Like he's going to work just like you, and then he's going home and he's going out and getting clips. He's doing 2 to 3 videos a week.
That's sick.
Like just putting it together. Like, man,
there's some people that can get really creative with self-filming, like Corey Goonan that rides for All I Need. He's like that. Like he could film a whole part, like just with these crazy angles. Like he has like an aesthetic eye too, and he can film himself.
The crazy part is like they get like a really good trick. They got to go back and get it again for the other angle. Like, man, I get that shit once. We're wrapping it up. There'll be times where I'm trying something and I'm literally telling myself I only have to get it once, and I tell myself that not because I need to get on film once, that if I can just get it once, I know I can get it again. So I'm just like, I just have to get it once. Once I know what it feels like, I'm gonna get it. But learning in my 40s, I don't have like the memory to look back on, like, oh, when I was a kid you tray flip like this. I don't have that. I have to go learn what a tray flip feels like in order to learn the trick,
which is good. That's awesome.
It's wild. But yeah, Kevin Nice Try, probably one of my favorite humans to watch, because if you're out there in Buffalo in your mid-30s in the winter trying to get tricks, respect all day, dude. That's wild,
dude. Sick. That's like that's me my whole life. I just like obsessed, like growing up just trying to find a filmer or like make it happen. I love filming and editing. Nowadays I do more filming than more filming than skating at times, It's crazy. And a lot of editing too.
I think it's cool to tell other people's stories. Like I film and talk about my skateboarding just because I'm sharing that, but like that's not the passion when it comes to video. I do want to tell other people's stories way more than I want to tell my story. I did a video when I first started this called A Veteran Story, and it was I interviewed my buddy Mike, who was a 5-time combat vet, and he got out of the Army and just lives in his RV and just found peace. And we hadn't talked in 10 years last time we saw each other was on a combat tour. And then I was like, hey, I'm skating in El Paso. Do you want to just come hang out and skate? And he's like, yep. And he came down, we made this video and just told his story. And even now when I watch that video, like that's all I want to do. I want to tell people stories like that.
Yeah, so that's way epic.
When this job is over and I'm not doing this anymore, it's going to be another channel, and it's not going to be skateboarding. Skateboarding will stay. The next channel will be completely different, and it's going to be focused on everyday people. And I'm going to go find them and I'm going to tell their stories. And it's going to be awesome.
Rad. That's so rad.
I've got a vision for it. It involves an RV and a podcast and humans.
Yeah.
I'll give you that, you know. So
dude, that's a great idea.
Everybody's got a story, you know.
It's so true.
You know.
Yeah, I love that aspect of it too. Like I love filming someone and watching them progress, and like all these groms, I was thinking too, I like wrote a short story, like a silly short story, like about Chloe and Elijah skating and then the board slipping out and then having Jacob play like kind of the dickhead who pulls up in his Camaro and runs over the board and then like says something and peels out. And then like I like started working on it a little bit, but because like every time I film with these little groms, they're always doing like ninja flips or like doing some funny voice or like they're just expressing themselves like on camera, like just because for shits and gigs or like get away with it sometimes, like so I'm like, you're already doing it anyway, so like maybe I can just come up with like a short story and like some silly and see them act it out. I also was thinking like maybe try to pick a character that's opposite of what they're naturally inclined to do, you know, just as like to see, you know, to play more. That's like the next thing I've been working on a little bit. I've been just gathering the information and like picking the characters basically.
That'd be fun. Like, you know, old Bones Brigade, right? They created these little narratives around the skating, and it worked. You know, it worked. It changed skateboarding.
I grew up watching 4-in-1 Video Magazine too, and that whole thing is riddled with like acting and checkouts and like check out my house and like silly skits and Lance and all those guys. Like, it's the funnest stuff. That's kind of what the vlog stuff turns into, you know, over time. But
you got to do a video where you pull your skate shit out and admit that you have a problem, you know, and we can do our interventions together.
I'm guilty, bro.
You know, here's the stuff.
Yeah, I will definitely. Next time we do this, I'll pull out some of my collection and we can just trade jabs. Like,
yeah, that'd be sick,
dude. Anthony, I'm really stoked we got to do this today, man. I appreciate you always being down. Like, I've been working a whole bunch, which is a blessing, but it's like work. Like I'm grinding and like and then I went on vacation and like I haven't podcasted much lately just because and I have things that pop up and you got to handle some heaviness. I was like, really enjoyed our last conversation. So I was like, who could I reach out to that would just free flow with me and talk? Like,
yeah, man, anytime. Like, I love it. Just like being a part of the community and the friendship we've grown over the last couple of years just doing this, man, I appreciate it. I think it's awesome. Two different worlds, but it comes together and I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll probably get this up online tomorrow too. So I'll tag you in and we can share and all that stuff. So, and I really realized I've been starting to share the episodes. Like I don't have a lot of time but I should get someone to help me with this, but I'm going to go through. And if you notice on the YouTube, you can pick a segment of the show and you can share it and title that segment. So if you go and you can like clip a segment and just share it. So
like the shorts.
Yeah. So like I'll go through, I haven't really had time to do it, but I'm going to for sure go through, and they made it really easy on YouTube to just clip a little segment. So if you scroll through real quick and find like a little like minute chunk, and then you can title it, you know, like
cool.
And then that might, if we try a bunch of different video titles like that, it'll get different. If we're all doing it, it'll pique different interests, you know, like,
for sure.
Because we talked about a lot of stuff. So, and we can stretch it out over time, you know?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah, is there anything you want to plug? Like maybe tell people your channel and stuff. So and I'll put the link in the description too. But
the channel, it's Adventures in Skateboarding at 40+. If you type in Adventures in Skateboarding, it usually pops up. Which is funny. I thought the at 40+ would be the channel, like the main point of the channel when I started it, but it's really turned into the adventure of skateboarding. Like, what am I doing this time for me? Like, I'm enjoying my adventure in it, and it's just mine. And I want everyone skateboarding to be their adventure, or whatever they're doing to create that time and space for themselves. That's their adventure.
Yeah, I like that. In the longer, and it's just proof that you've stuck with filming and a channel long enough that you're narrowing the aim, you know, and like what you're discovering, what it's becoming. That's awesome.
The adventure of it all is more important than anything to me. I'm going to get some tricks or I'm not going to get some tricks. But the adventure of the process is the important part to me. Yeah. So.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah.
But no, appreciate it, man. I'm gonna go check out this new artwork you said you got on the website. I'm interested.
Yeah, man. Please check it out. I'll talk to you tomorrow probably because I'll be tagging you in some stuff.
Right on, man. Appreciate it.
Later, Ant.
Hey.
This is the All I Need Skate podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, please let us know by subscribing, liking, and sharing an episode. Check out ALLiNEEDSKATE.com for epic skate videos of the crew, our skateboards, and